And welcome back once again to the one and only Joe the Shirt's Off the Cuff. Welcome back, everybody. It's good to be back. Good to be back. Cerveza time, as always. Today's Cerveza is brought to you by Excalibur Hard Apple Cider. So it's not actually Cerveza, it's Excalibur Hard Apple Cider. Not that they, promote the show or anything. They don't pay me for this, but I like to let you know what it is I'm drinking today. Let me have a taste of this. Hold on. Yep, that's hard apple cider, all right. Shit, I thought I was grabbing beer. Oh, well, that's okay. It's tasty, though. It's pretty tasty. Welcome back, everybody, to Joe the Shirt's Off the Cuff. I am your host, Joe the Shirt, and I'm off the cuff. All right, before we get into anything else, let's talk about some real news really, really quickly here. 55 dead in Baghdad bombing. Bizarre blast leaves 43 people wounded, more than 100... kills 43 people, wounds about 100. And gunmen kill at least 40 at Nigerian college. Okay, there you go. There's the real news. You happy? For all you haters out there that are always bitching that I don't cover any real news, there, look, there it is. You know what? It's the same fucking news that was there yesterday, the day before that, the day before that. Somewhere in some shitty part of the world, somebody decided, I'm just going to kill the fuck out of everybody. Yeah. Now, one of the most recent ones actually was over in Kenya, where that nutcase they shot up the mall there, like dozens of people dead, hundreds wounded, whatever the fuck, And apparently Kenya's all pissed off. With us, of all things, believe it or not. Yes, Kenya is pissed off with us. Why? Because the American Travel Advisory is advising American citizens that it's too dangerous to go to Kenya. So they're saying, it's not a good idea that you go there. And and I believe I think the capital of Kenya, there was Nairobi or some shit like that. They're all pissed off. They're all like on the internet and on the news and twittering and all that bullshit. And they're telling everybody that that. By the United States issuing such a travel advisory that it's going to hurt Kenyan, tourism. And my thought, well, who the fuck is going to Kenya anyway? Who's going to Kenya? I'm sorry. I mean, you know what? You shouldn't feel that bad. We give the travel advisory gives the exact same advice for people going to, say, I don't know, Somalia, Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, Syria, Libya. Don't go. That's what they're saying. Don't go to these places. Why? Because you'll get killed. I mean, shit, this was at the mall. But, in the last few years, we've learned, obviously, that, you can pretty much go anywhere and get shot and killed by some nutcase. It's, that's why I didn't bother to talk about that whole, the Navy guy that went off and killed 13 people. You know what? I've done this story already. I've done this goddamn story enough times already. I'm sick and tired of, every couple of weeks I open up the paper and some nutcase decides to shoot up the mall or the movie theater or a school or a college campus. Or right here in Los Angeles, was about a year or two ago, a hair salon. I mean, shit, man. I'm tired of doing this story. It's getting old. That's how sad it is. This story is no longer sensational. It's no longer spectacular. It's no longer the wow. It's more like, again? Seriously? Fuck. That's why I wasn't talking about it. I'm gonna continue to not talk about it. We're gonna move on. Actually, I got a bunch of short stories here that I want to go through. A couple of little quick tidbits here and there. Nothing too crazy, Let me see here. Let's see. Now, for those of you who fly a lot, apparently there may be a lifting of the in-flight ban on electronics. Under the new proposals, passengers would be able to use gadgets on takeoff and landings. Now, I've flown quite a bit in my time, and I've flown, and I have a cell phone, a smartphone, I have the new Samsung. Well, I have a new Samsung. It's not the newest one. I have the Samsung Galaxy S3. because it was much cheaper than the S4. It does pretty much everything the S4 does. But I travel, I have my smartphone with me. We have our tablet with us. We have one or two laptops with us, And I got to tell you, I don't need to really be on any one of those while we're taking off or landing. It's not that fucking important. It's not that big a deal. I don't personally. I don't think they should bother removing it. It's stupid. You know what? If you can't, wait the 15 minutes to land, the 15 minutes to take off, you're addicted to your electronic device. You need to spend some time away from it. Okay. I am one of those people, one of those rare modern people that I can go without my electronic devices for quite the while. And when I say that, I don't mean like the TV and the radio, okay? Or my video games. I'm talking about the internet and being in constant communication or constantly available for communication with other people. I don't need to do that. I will, if I go out to lunch and I'm eating by myself, I turn off my phone. If or I put it on vibrate, or I put it on silent, so boom. So I don't even know if anybody calls or anybody emails me, okay? I am part of the generation that existed before emails and cell phones. And you know what? Somehow or another, I managed to not be in constant contact with the rest of humanity. Isn't that something that you actually want in your life, to not be in contact with humanity? I cherish my alone time, and it's impossible to have alone time if you are constantly, checking on your phone or checking on your tablet or checking on your email or whatever, or your Twitter, or, it's ridiculous, man. So take a break. Just take a break from it. That's right. Oh, yeah, here's that U.S. travel advisory story that I came up with here. Oh, my God, yeah. The U.S. State Department on Friday released the update advisory referring to the September 21st terrorist attack on the Westgate Mall that left at least 67 people dead, including several foreigners. 5 Americans were injured in the attack. And, that's why they, put out the advisory. Now, for those of you who are listening to me via Facebook, because you can't be away from electronic devices for any length of time, excuse me, I'll have some more Excalibur hard cider. Some good news for you guys on Facebook. A federal appeals court in Virginia ruled on Wednesday that the act of liking a political candidate's campaign on Facebook is protected by the U.S. Constitution. Clicking like on Facebook now has free speech status. Now, this comes in from the case from a former employee of a sheriff's office that said they lost their jobs as a result of supporting their boss's opponent by endorsing a campaign page on Facebook. Now, a lower court had ruled that pressing like did not warrant constitutional protection. Liking a political candidate's campaign page communicates the user's approval of the candidate and supports the campaign by associating the user with it. Judge William Traxler wrote, according to Bloomberg, "It is the internet equivalent of displaying a political sign in one's front yard, which the Supreme Court has held is substantive speech, thus protected." And good, because, I've heard so many stories of people who get in trouble because of things that their employers or associates see on the internet, on the World Wide Web, the internet, whatever you want to call it. Apparently, they're two different things. But what they see on Facebook or emails or when MySpace was still relevant, or what they see on YouTube, people have gotten in trouble. People have gotten fired. People have been reprimanded. People have been asked to leave their position, willingly, which, of course, it's not willing if they're being asked to do it. So now you can click like, and nobody can hold it against you. Just so you know, though, just because you click like and nobody can hold it against you, they could hold it against you, but they may not admit it to you. So just keep that in mind, I always talk about privacy on this show and how we really don't have privacy anymore. So think about what you do before you do it. Before you say or do anything on the internet, think about who might see it, who might hear it, who might read it, and then consider what the repercussions of that may be. All right? So just keep that in mind out there, because just because it's illegal for people to hold it against you doesn't mean that they won't. Now, in this society of ours, guns are a big deal, big deal. There's always legislation for more and more gun control with all the shootings that happen, especially Sandy Hook being, like, for me, the worst one, because the vast majority of the victims were, in fact, very young children, which normally when I hear about people getting killed, I care that they're human beings, but I don't care about them as individuals because I didn't know them. But in that case, that wouldn't hit close to home because they were kids, So hell, I was crying on the air when I was talking about that story. But if you happen to be going to Starbucks, they're asking you to not bring your guns with you when you come in for your cup of joe, your latte, your mochaccino, your frappuccino, your ice blended, your tea, your chai, whatever the fuck it is you're getting at Starbucks. They're asking you to please leave your guns at home. Now, mind you, it's not an outright ban. Now, typically speaking, most of us live in states, cities, counties where you're not allowed to carry a gun with you anyway. But there are some states, some cities, some towns, counties where there are, open carry laws in effect where you can carry a gun with you. Some people are licensed, registered to have a concealed weapon on them, including police officers, some detectives, some military. They're allowed to bring their weapons with them. But Starbucks is asking everybody to please leave your guns at home. Now, it's not a complete ban on guns because you're not going to go into Starbucks and you're going to see a sign that says, please, no guns, don't bring any guns, guns forbidden. No, you're not going to see that because Starbucks realizes that, the last thing they want is one of their baristas getting into an argument with somebody that's packing. So, if you really want to bring your gun to Starbucks, you can, but they'd rather that you didn't. And I'm pretty sure I would too. Don't bring your guns to Starbucks. It's early in the morning, you're a little groggy, you're about to get amped up on more caffeine than an elephant should be able to take in, and you're armed. Don't do that. What else we got here? Burger King is launching a new low-fat French fry. In other news, stock in Burger King dropped like a pancake made out of bricks. That's right. Burger King is bringing out a low-fat, crinkle-cut French fry to appeal to the health-conscious consumer, dubbed Satisfries. That's right, I said it, Satisfries. According to them, the fries have 40% less fat and 30% fewer calories than your normal McDonald's fries. Now, according to this, the classic value-sized order of Burger King's fries, that's a small, mind you, is 240 calories and 10 grams of fat and 330 milligrams of sodium. That's the classic. A value-sized order of the Satisfries contains 190 calories, 8 grams of fat, and 210 milligrams of sodium. So, yeah, it's a significant cut. And actually, I lied before. Stock in Burger King did not go down. It actually jumped up about 3 cents to $19.83 on Tuesday. And that means it's time for a break. Today's music is being brought to us today by A New Ascension. Their first song was Consider This, and this is their second song that I'm playing for you today. It's called Tina Gray by A New Ascension. I'm Joe the Shirt. I'm off the cuff, and I'll be right back. Promise.
All my favorite things, ways that swing and violent sings. They'll be hiding in the corner.
once again, show the shirt is off the cuff. Welcome back, everybody. Nothing like a short little musical break with a new ascension. The title of today's show is called "The World's Still Here." Dang! This is in reference to, in case some of you didn't know, the federal government stopped operating yesterday. Did you know? Did you notice? Did you see? I mentioned this on Sunday's show. What happened? Okay. Republicans and some Tea Party folks really hate the idea of the Affordable Health Care Act, also known as Obamacare. And they claim that if Obamacare passes, which it did, and is not defunded, it's going to bankrupt the federal government, and thus the federal government will cease to be able to function because they will have no money to operate. So what do Republicans do? They refuse to pass the fiscal budget for the federal government, thus making sure that the federal government doesn't function. I mean, talk about... Oh my gosh, it's just cutting off your nose to spite your face, isn't it? I mean, just so stupid. For the longest time, people thought it wasn't going to happen. Republicans decided to dig in. Democrats decided to dig in. President Barack Obama dug in. And it's happening. Okay? As of yesterday, people could go online and register for the Affordable Health Care Act. They could apply for insurance at severely discounted rates. Having a pre-existing condition does not stop you from being able from applying and qualifying, and it will provide health care for roughly, at the very least, about half of the 50 million Americans in the United States that don't have health care. For the longest time, this has been like really one of America's biggest boils on the butt of America. It really is. That's what healthcare. It's ridiculous that one of the most powerful countries in the world, one of the richest countries in the world, one of the most militarily prepared countries in the world can't seem to get healthcare to its citizens. And a lot of the reason for that is because Republicans don't want to pay for it. Hell, nobody really wants to pay for it. Democrats, if you're a rich Democrat, you definitely don't want to pay for it either. But it's something that needs to be done. As I've said before, I'd rather see a doctor than no doctor. Okay? And you know what? I think what it really boils down to, this isn't about the Affordable Health Care Act, bankrupting the federal government. It's not. It's not about that at all. It's not about having big government in your personal lives. It's not. What this is really about is votes. And what I'm saying here is that Republicans do not want Obamacare, or the Affordable Health Care Act, to work, because if they know that if it works, then Barack Obama and the Democrats will be known as the champions of the people. They will be known as the guys that finally got health care to the people that need it. Okay, this isn't about, like I said, the federal government going bankrupt. You know what? It's not gonna happen. Somebody somewhere will lend us money if it's absolutely necessary. Okay. The debt ceiling will go up. We're going to be fine. What this is about is that the Republicans wanted to be the ones that came up with the idea. They said, and Republicans are encouraging people to not sign up for the Affordable Health Care Act. They're telling young people especially not to sign up. Why? Because if enough young people don't sign up, even though they're eligible for it, then they're not going to be able to pay for it all, and then Obamacare gets defunded anyway. Now, one of my frequent listeners and commenters on the show is my friend Penny. Penny and I disagree on many things. That doesn't stop us from being friends. I appreciate her opinion in all things. And I'm sure she appreciates my opinions on many, many things as well. We don't always agree on things. I'll be the first one to tell you that on this one, I think she's dead wrong. You can check Penny Cantu out on Facebook. She is quite the firebrand. She's got a lot of things to say. If you want to know about what's going on in politics from a distinctly non-Obama pro kind of way, she's pretty much anti-Obama, anti-Democrat, very pro-Republican. But she's got a lot of good opinions. She's very strong opinions, and she's not afraid to put them out there. And I disagreed with her on this one, but you know what? We were able to discuss it as adults, present our ideas and our differences as adults, and then we disagree, and then we move on to something else. And I do agree with her that it is important that you really should become more informed as to what's going on out there. I am not the most informed person on the planet. Please tell me you're not getting your news from me or Bill Maher or Jon Stewart or Colbert. Please tell me you're not getting your news from people like us. Actually watch the news, read the paper sometime, okay? But find out what's going on in your government. Whatever it is you're into, find out, look into it. One of the things that Penny likes to bring up is the fact that, so many people, when they decide to vote, voting is all they do, and they typically will vote along party lines. Very typical. I've been guilty of the same thing for the most part here and there, because the party agrees with what I believe in. Every once in a while, I've seen a few things come up that I didn't agree with. I did not vote for it. I either voted the other way or I abstained. I do believe that abstaining is a valid way of voicing what you believe in. I don't think that you should vote along party lines just because it's your party, but just because of that, I don't think you should necessarily vote for the other way either. Just because the Democrats present something to me that I don't like doesn't mean that I'm going to vote for what the Republicans are presenting to me. Sometimes I really just have to say, okay, I'm not voting for either one of these guys or either one of these things. It doesn't work for me. When it comes to certain issues, I'll go yes or no. Absolutely. But I think we're entitled to abstain if we feel like it. But the government is officially not working. From what I heard, something along the lines of 800,000 government workers are being furloughed. Now, mind you, essential government programs and employees are still going to work. It is illegal for them not to go to work. They may not get paid necessarily, but it is illegal for them not to go to work. For instance, like if you live in a city, like say New York City cops are not allowed to go on strike. Okay, mind you, they may do it anyway, but legally speaking, they're actually not allowed to do that. Same thing goes with, say, the military. The military is not allowed to go on strike. They're not allowed to just stop working because they're not getting paid anymore. They have a contract that goes beyond that. But other things, are being affected. State parks, government parks. There's a bunch of things that you may or may not notice. For the most part, it doesn't affect too many people in too many ways. It will affect them sooner or later, but maybe not immediately. Like, for instance, I told you that if you were looking to travel out of the country and didn't have your passport and needed to get a new one, well, guess what? You're not getting one now. That's not considered essential. But yes, but the world's still here. Who knew? It's the federal government stopped working, and most people didn't notice. I certainly the guy that I gave my spare change to yesterday didn't seem to notice. I'm like, actually, I didn't even give him change. I bought him a Gatorade. He said he was thirsty. He asked me for money, and I told him I was on nothing but plastic right now, just credit cards. He's like, well, can you get me something to drink? I'm like, well, what do you want? He goes, how about a Gatorade? I'm like, yeah, sure. And I gave him a Gatorade, and as I'm giving him the Gatorade, I'm like, so what did you think of the federal government being closed? And he's like, it is? See, the homeless, also known as people without health care, didn't notice that the federal government isn't working. Doesn't really affect too many people. But the real question is how long do the Republicans intend for this to last? How long are they going to push this? Are they going to push it until, we get to the point that there are going to be some government services that we do need, that people will be needing? It's going to be felt. Believe me, sooner it will be felt, just not immediately. I think, like I said, the biggest fear that the Republicans have is that the Affordable Health Care Act, also known as Obamacare, that it will work. That people will like it, that people will go online, and people for the first time, possibly in their lives, will be able to get health care. They're able to go see a doctor. They'll be able to go see a dentist. They'll be able to take care of the things in their lives. They'll be able to not have to make that choice between health care or food this week, it's a big deal. So I do believe it's the best chance that a lot of people have to get affordable health care. Right now, as many of you know, I am officially unemployed. I'm going to school right now, but officially I'm unemployed. I don't have any health care. Okay? So if I need to go to the doctor, I'm paying out of pocket. Or I'm going to the emergency room, or I'm going to urgent care, or I'm hitting the free clinic for like 5 hours in line, And I also know that for a lot of people in the medical industry, it hurts them in a lot of ways because, these are people that spent a lot of time and a lot of money to go to school, to become doctors, to become specialists, to become nurses, to become technicians. And now they're being told, well, your services are not going to be worth quite as much. We're not going to pay you quite as well. But you're still doing better than those out there without health care in the first place. You're taken care of. Don't worry about it. I know it's a very simplistic way of looking at it, a very simplistic way of explaining it. But I don't want to get that far into it. I just want to make sure that we all knew federal government's not working. Everything's still here. The world's still here. And with a little luck, the Affordable Health Care Act will continue to get more and more popular. And this will probably be, if it does work out, and I think it will, this will be President Barack Obama's big stamp on history, that he finally got health care to the masses. Where everybody else tried and failed, he finally did it. So, what happens next is going to be very big, both in people's everyday personal lives and politically. It's going to be huge because if this really does work out, the Democrats are going to get a big swing, I think, in popularity. Now, some years ago when Obama first got elected, President Barack Obama got elected, call him Obama like we're pals or something, there was a big block of senior citizens in Florida especially that were against Barack Obama's plan for senior health care. Against it. Recent poll indicates that nearly 9 out of 10 of those self-same seniors are not perfectly satisfied with how things are working. And I think that's the way it's going to work out with the Affordable Health Care Act. In any case, it's time for a little break with a little more music by A New Ascension. This one's called Every Part of Me. I'm Joe the Shirt. I'm off the cuff, and I'll be right back.
Never could have found you
Oops, sorry there. And Joe Shirt's back and off the cuff. Little technical glitch there. Actually, I pressed the wrong button a little quickly. Before we go on, let's go through celebrity birthdays. Got to do celebrity birthdays. Got to do it. We'll do yesterday's birthdays because it's October. It's my favorite month. Why? Because it's got my favorite holiday in it, Halloween. And let's go with October 1st birthdays. If you have a birthday on October 1st, you shared it with the one and only movie great, Julie Andrews, Zach Galifianakis, 44 years old from the Hangover movies. President Jimmy Carter is 89 years old. Baseball Hall of Famer Mark McGwire turns 50. Rod Carew, also from baseball fame, 68 years old. Brie Larson, actress, 24. Actor Randy Quaid is 63. Wow, he looks 83. Sarah Drew is 33, and actor Isai Morales is 51 years old. Not too many there, and even less for today's birthdays, but you got some impressive ones in here. Lorraine Bracco is 59 years old. You may remember her from The Sopranos. Rex Reed, a film critic, is 75. 80s pop star Tiffany is 42 years old. NBA star Tyson Chandler is 31. Avery Brooks of the Star Trek DS9 fame is 65. Kelly Ripa is 43. And the one and only Sting is 62. Can you believe Sting is 52 years old? My God. Way to feel my age, man. Way to feel my age. So what else is going on in the world? Well, if you happen to be Jewish, you may not be as Jewish as you used to be. Okay, what the hell am I talking about? Well, apparently, Jewish secularism is rising. What does that mean? It means that people who are Jewish identify themselves as culturally Jewish, but don't necessarily involve any religion in their lives through Judaism. I know, sounds wacky. Apparently, one of the examples we have here is Marilyn McLaughlin. McLaughlin, not your typical Jewish name. And the reason for that is because she married a non-Jew. Apparently, she loved lighting the braided candle and singing to mark the end of Shabbat. She relished studying the Talmud and weighing its ethical questions, but sitting in synagogue left her cold. Quote, I was stuffed with religion, but I had no deep connection to it. A new study from the Pew Research Center finds that more than a fifth of Jewish Americans say they have no religion. This has always been a very interesting thing for me because Jewish people identify themselves not just simply as a religion, but they identify themselves as a culture. So, it's in a lot of ways, it's like saying, I identify myself as Italian, but I'm not Catholic, But it actually goes further than that because for the longest time, being Jewish really meant both. That you were not just simply of Jewish culture. You grew up with Jews, you grew up in a Jewish neighborhood, you had a Jewish mom and dad, they had Jewish moms and dads, and you come from a long line of Jews, but religion was a big part of your everyday life. We're talking, you observe the Sabbath, certain things that you could do or not do, certain things that you could eat and not eat. My girlfriend, for instance, is what I would call a secular Jew. She is Jewish by birth, but I don't remember the last time she ever went to a synagogue. Last time she did anything regarding the Jewish faith was, for a couple of funerals quite some years ago for her brother and her mother, which I attended, and very interesting stuff. But other than that, she is not your traditional Jew. She does not observe the Sabbath. She does not observe not eating shellfish. She does not, she doesn't follow all the rules. She doesn't follow any of the rules as far as I can tell. And she has an interest in her culture and the Jewish way of life, but she doesn't necessarily live by it. She's also Russian by birth. But, you look around our house here, it's not like the place is filled with those little dolls that you put one into the other, and it's not, stuffed to the brim with like glass and metal decorations like a lot of Russians do, And a lot of a lot of modern temples these days are now switching to a more secular way of Judaism where, yes, we're going to teach you about the culture, where you come from and how you got here, but we're not going to stuff all these rites and rituals and these rules down your throat anymore, which is something that a lot of religions have been doing for the longest time. Catholicism, Protestants, Jehovah's Witnesses, I don't know. I used to know a lot more about them, but I don't know how they are these days. I do know that my mother is a Jehovah's Witness, and she's definitely a lot more lax than when I was growing up, okay? When I was a kid, it's like, you're going to fucking Kingdom Hall, also known as church, fucking three days a week and taking Bible study 3 days a week and torturing other children with Bible studies and then doing a family study and then, that she doesn't do that anymore. I think she just gave up. So, of course, some people are the older, more traditional Jews are a little upset by this because they're sad that, say, their grandchildren will not have the Jewish upbringing that they had or that their parents had. To which the parents of these grandchildren are saying, "Well, good. I don't want to force feed it down the kid's throat." Now, the other side of that, very Orthodox Jews are actually getting even more ingrained with Judaism. They're becoming even more Jewish, which is going to make a much bigger divide. Because I tell you, very Orthodox Hasidic Jews do not get along with your more secular Jews to begin with. But now with the secular Jews becoming even more secular, they might as well be a different religion. And I got to tell you, this is not uncommon in world history of religions, okay? Back in the days of Rome, nobody saw a difference between a Jew and a Christian, okay? Nobody saw a difference other than the people themselves that identified themselves as Jew and Christian, because they basically had all the same basic ideas in play with one itty-bitty little difference. You may know him as Jesus Christ. Moving on. A college student is being held on sextortion charges. The FBI says that a student has hacked his way into webcams of women, including Miss Teen USA. Now, let's see, a 19-year-old Temecula college freshman was taken into custody on Thursday on federal charges that he sextorted newly crowned Miss Teen USA and other young women around the world by hijacking their computer's webcam to capture naked images. Jared James Abrams allegedly commandeered webcams of unsuspecting women in Canada, Ireland, and Russia and across the United States. So what he would do is hijack your camera on your laptop or your desktop, hack into it, control it, and then just have it on recording and wait for women to walk by while they're getting changed, getting dressed, having sex, masturbating, trying on clothes, whatever. And then he would contact these women, show them the images that he'd taken, and then would tell them to either send him money or he would post the pictures publicly where their friends and family could see it. Or he would even better tell them to pose for more pictures, or else he would expose them. One of the victims was a 17-year-old from Ireland who reluctantly disrobed on his orders during a Skype session, according to the September 19th affidavit. Quote, "Please remember I'm 17, have a heart," the affidavit quotes the girl as saying. Quote, Abrams allegedly responded, quote, "I'll tell you this right now, I do not have a heart. However, I do stick to my deals. Also, age doesn't mean a thing to me." Well then, Abrams is now being held on $50,000 bail and must wear a GPS tracker and is prohibited from using a computer for anything other than academic work. What a douchebag. Here's one for you. See if I can get both these stories in here. Let's see. Where is it? Okay, a Huntington Beach high school has recently crowned a prom queen. Now, you're thinking to yourself, well, big fucking deal. The problem is, this is a transgender prom queen. This is a person that was born a man, and but the person started taking the hormones, hormone blockers for, say, testosterone, and essentially is, developed breast, lost muscle tone in their upper body, stopped growing facial hair, well, mostly. And you look at a picture right here, at first glance, it looks like a woman, but then you take a really good look, and I'm like, I'm still seeing a little bit of an, 5 o'clock shadow on this chick. Look, I'm very pro-gay, transgender, lesbian. I'm very pro on this, okay? I support everything. But I still believe that if you're going to be prom queen, you should been born a woman. If you're going to be prom king, you should have been born a man. That's it. That's it right there. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't think that this is a real step in acceptance. I don't think that it makes any sense, really. It's stupid. And honestly, I feel that it's a joke. I think it's silly. You take the DNA test, you know what's going to come back? You're a dude. And I know that sounds heartless. I know that seems closed-minded, but it's not. It's a fact. You were born a dude. You want to live your life as a woman? Great. But you know what? I still don't want you entering the ladies' bathroom. Why? Because you have a dick. That's why. And there could be minors in there, and people that are not necessarily comfortable with the fact that you can still pee standing up if you really, really want to. So no, I you know what? I know that's probably like one of the most closed-minded things I have in me these days, but it is what it is. And finally, little criticism out of criticism here. There in the LA Times, one Mary McNamara, who's a television critic, is criticizing a couple of shows. One called Men on CBS, I believe, and starring Tony Shalhoub. Oh no, We Are Men, starring Tony Shalhoub and Jerry O'Connell, Chris Smith, and Cal Penn, and also another show, Dads, which you may have seen also on CBS with Seth Green and Giovanni Ribisi. And her biggest problem with these shows is that the fact that they celebrate being men in the manliest way possible, which is, man cave kind of men. And I don't have a problem with this, speaking as a man, obviously. But according to her, these shows are giving men a bad name. And I have to disagree with this. You know what? This shows men the way men really are, not the way you'd like men to be. You got to get over yourself on that one, okay? Men, we like to burp. We like to watch porn. We like to stare at women jogging, even though we're not jogging. And we like to bitch about our ex-wives, and we like to play video games, and we like to watch sports. And this is who we are. And I don't think that there should be a problem with a show that celebrates this. When shows like, Gilmore Girls or Sex and the City are out, you don't see men bashing these shows, at least not in print, I mean, sure, we bash them on the side because we think they're gay, they're stupid, fucking chick flicks. But, we don't make a big deal out of it because we know women like these shows, and that's who it's for. And these shows were designed with men in mind. Any case, that's it for me today. Time to take us out with a New Ascension and their song Deity. I'm Joe the Shirt, and I've been off the cuff.